I'm John Gamble, President and CEO of the Association of Consulting Engineering Companies of Canada. Thank you for joining me for a discussion on infrastructure investment with Federal Finance Minister, the Honourable Bill Morneau.
Infrastructure is critically important. So for us, making big long-term investments in our infrastructure, they're going to help the economy today. They're going to create great jobs for people today, design jobs, engineering jobs, construction jobs. And tomorrow they're going to allow people to get back and forth to home to work more rapidly, see people's families more often. They're going to allow Canadians to have more and better opportunities to get across our country. So these are really important investments in the long term for our country, and they're just going to improve our ability to lead the kind of great life that we've become accustomed to in our country. We're going to, by definition, create really great jobs today, and they're going to go on for a long time. We're certainly going to find some projects that wouldn't get done otherwise, and by definition they're going to be big transformative projects. So there'll be projects that link together geographies potentially in ways that don't currently exist. So this is a really positive thing for Canadians. It's a really positive thing for our economy, and we want to get it done. We think we will get it done, and we think that the impacts will be something that we'll be able to look back on 20 years from now and say, this was a really important moment in the history of Canada, because we've now put ourselves on a long-term trajectory to having an investment approach in infrastructure that can be sustained and renewed over time.
What is your vision for transit in Canada?
Well, in the first instance, we think about it from a social issue standpoint. We think about families. We think about the fact that if we've got people that are going to work and taking too long and coming home and taking too long, that's less time with their families. It's less time productively at work. Economically, of course, our productivity is enhanced if people can get back and forth in a more efficient, effective way. So that's why we think about public transit, how important it is for our cities and towns. And that's why we think about our roads and our transportation systems more broadly. It's critical for the economic backbone of this country and for making better lives for Canadians. I think about what's going on in so many of our cities, and I think about the challenge around affordable housing as a really good example. I think about the challenge for seniors housing as we have an aging population. So it's really about making sure that we have those places where people can find an affordable place to live, us working together with the provinces and the municipalities to make sure that there's that sort of access. Because again, at the end, what we're thinking about is, a healthy economy comes back to people having an affordable place to live, the ability to raise their family, and the ability to be part of our economic well-being.
What's your vision for the infrastructure bank?
We need to make sure that we have effective public transit, effective roads and bridges, affordable housing. We know that the kind of significant investments that the government's making, even with the historic investments we've made, still will leave a gap in terms of what we need in infrastructure. So first and foremost, we're recognizing that asking the private sector to become involved gives us more capacity to create more infrastructure. So if we can more rapidly get to big projects that are going to be transformational because we invite in outside investors, that's what we're after. The infrastructure bank is a method for us to say, on some projects, not all, there will be the opportunity for pension funds. Maybe the Canadian Pension Plan or the Hospitals of Ontario Pension Plan as examples, or the Caisse de dépôt, to invest in projects together with the government so that we get more done. So that's really what we're after. We know we can do this in a way that allows us to have a bigger, more important impact on jobs today, and a bigger, more important impact on how our cities and towns will work in the long term.
So finally, Minister, if you could give one message to the ACEC membership, the consulting engineering firms that are going to be involved with virtually all of these projects, what can we do to help you realize your vision and make this program and make these investments successful?
Well, the single biggest message, of course, I can give is that we need you. That this is actually very much about using the great expertise that already exists in our country to think about the infrastructure needs we have, to design the opportunities, to manage the projects. So your membership's going to be critically important to this. The other thing, of course, that I'm going to be able to tell your membership is we have big long-term plans. So they chose the right field to go into, because we're going to be making significant infrastructure investments over the long term.
This has been a discussion with the Honourable Bill Morneau talking about infrastructure investment. Thank you, Minister.
Thanks very much. Thank you. Cheers.